feel like if I never got obese, I probably would have loved the game more. But and I probably would have been 1,000 times better than what I am.
Did you ever play in school, like middle school, high school?
So I didn't play middle school. High school, I I went for the varsity team, but I wasn't good enough. I didn't make the cut because my junior year was when I decided to cut weight. My junior year, I the heaviest I was, and keep in mind, I'm not one of the most altos. I'm not one of the tallest. I'm 5'5". I was 215. And I decided to cut weight. I went a little extreme with it, and I got down to like 138.
Oh shit!
But
Can I say bad words?
no, that's fine. You can
Okay.
say whatever you want. It's
Fuck.
so good. See, gotta drop an F bomb. It's perfectly fine. We're human. It's a safe space. This is why this is made. Talk about experiences in life, like how I'm sharing right now. I got down to it, and I noticed the less you weigh, the more quicker your reaction time is. Like, have you noticed when they pass you the ball and you like look up, like you do obviously have adrenaline, but you can control it more. And when someone's running up to you, you kind of have like a quicker reaction time. Like you can think faster, process it, and like do what you got to do. Yeah. See.
I mean, I think for me, what's helped is actually playing, like when we play at the community center. I think just playing there and practicing there with everybody and like just being consistent with playing, I think that's helped a lot. Because, I mean, before we would just play Sundays, and that was the only time I would ever play. So I didn't really get practice. But like over this last maybe like 3 or 4 months, I feel like I've been more consistent with practicing and trying to get a little bit better.
No, I think that's good. I think it's really cool that you, Tweety, Tapatio decided to start joining it because it all started from my previous job. I used to work at a big box retailer, as you know, and from there, me and like 4 people from there started playing. But we would just go play scrimmage how we usually do on Wednesdays, and then everybody kind of gravitated their own like people and people that love the game, and like after a while, I felt a little distanced. I felt like out of the loop because everybody brought their people, and I was like, man, like I wish I had my people. Originally, these are supposed to be my people, but like they brought their people, like people that they know outside of where we used to work. And that's when I know you and your brother Tweety played. No, Tweety is your brother. You, Tweety, and Tapatio played. And I was like, yo, you guys should pull up. Like, it's going to be fun. Like, it's good.
I know you would hit me up all the time, be like, oh, come play with us. But at the time, we would play behind Pioneer High School. And it was fun for a while, but then, I don't know, after a while, like, we just didn't enjoy it as much. And then once we started playing with you guys, like, no, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's always this... It's always talking smack on the field, and everyone just like is out of pocket, but it's like it's fun because like everyone's there for the love of the game, and like I will say, even though it's turf, it's not that bad. But I will say one place I don't miss playing, and I know you might not agree with me, but is Le 5 indoor, because not only do you have to be people online to buy your bracelet, $5 bracelet went up to $7.
And then paying like $10.
And then on top of that, like you have to get your team ready, and you don't really have that much of a rest time in between games. The games are 5 minutes, and at least in my experience, the people that we play are impressive. They're like they know how to move with the ball, they know how to communicate, and they're really really fast. And that's where after a few times of playing, like I wouldn't say like it deterred me, and it didn't like made me lose confidence, but it made me think, oh man, there's bigger fish out here. Like, have you ever felt that?
I mean, I've only played out there. I played like one season, I guess, if you would call it that. It's hard. Like,
it's harder.
I would get tired in like 5, 6, 7 minutes. I'd be like, all right, I'm out. I need
right. Something about what I think it is. I don't think it's necessarily like playing inside like a little dome. I think it's the heat. Everybody gives off heat, and it stays inside. And I think that's what heats up your feet and then like your lungs, and it makes it harder to play.
I mean, for me, I think it was just like because it's like a small field and it's just like a quicker pace, and like you're running the whole time. There's no like, all right, like let's look around, look for a pass. Like no, it's like instant. And I think because everything is so fast paced, that's what would get me tired.
No, definitely makes sense. It's bittersweet. Like I do miss it, but I don't. Like I feel like if the right people went, and I mean right people as in like people that are consistent, not people that like I'm cool with, people that are acquaintances. No, people that are consistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean by that. It would be fun.
And I think finding consistent people is the hardest part because that's kind of why we stopped playing in the co-ed league because I mean we had some consistent people, but then like there were people that were not consistent, so then like there were games that we were short players and it just made it harder on everybody else that would show up. And so at the time I was working two jobs. I was going to school to get my master's and then had this soccer team and I was like, all right, this is too much. Like I can't like try to reach out to this many people to try to get them to go to the game. I was like, I'm just gonna like we're just gonna sit out for a year or a couple of seasons
Yeah.
And then eventually like people were like, hey, like are you guys still playing in Davis or when are you gonna make the team again? And after a while, enough people asked. I think it was like a year later, enough people asked, and then that's when I was like, okay, like, are you interested in playing? Are you interested in playing? And like, I had enough people that said they wanted to play that I was like, okay, I think we're ready to start playing again. But I mean, it always starts like we have a bunch of players, like too many players, and then as the season goes on, like we barely have enough, or like we'll have a couple of subs.
I think what's perfect, especially with what you're saying, is to get couples because we need not only do we need girls, but we need guys because sometimes we need subs for all of them.
Yeah.
And if we have like, I want to say like eights, just like other teams have like a 10 subs just standing there.
Yeah.
We have three. I think that can help us out because like I know everybody gets tired, and I noticed I'm not calling people out, but there's been a lot of when you text or sometimes I text or Joseph text. It's like, hey, who's in, who's out? I've been noticing like at least on average four, I'm out. Oh, I'm not gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm just like in my head, I'm just like, why not? Like, come on, you signed up for it, you paid for this. Like, why? But couples help. I mean, if I could get my lady to play, that'd be amazing. I mean, she told me to help her, but like, I mean, I'm down. I don't mind. It's just we're gonna have to have that extra time, and I feel like having time, especially when you're like working and you finally have like a career, like you don't always like come home drained, but sometimes you're just like, okay, how do I prepare for the next day? Not only do I have this many hours to like, have my food ready, my clothes ready, um, you know, everyone's in a different field. For you, probably like what you're gonna produce and display tomorrow, like you only have so many hours after you get off.
Yeah, I don't feel like the day is long enough to get everything done because teachers are super underappreciated. Like, you have to get there early to do things like to get stuff ready for the class. You stay there after everybody goes home, and then still like when you go home, if you like go home like let's say 15-20 minutes after everyone's out, like most people probably still work at home, and those that don't work at home are staying at school like another hour, 2 hours.
I never seen that side of teachers. I never knew how late they stay until you're telling me this.
And then also on weekends. And I was doing that for like the first couple of years. But after a while, I was like, okay, like I need my own personal life. I need to do things that like I enjoy and are fun. I need to leave work at work.
Yeah, I mean, like, I live vicariously through your stories. I see you going to Mexico. I see you going to Florida. I see you going to LA constantly, and I'm just like, wow, like, where does he get the allocations for this? Like, I'm trying to save myself just to go to Cancun, and I'm over here like, wow, what does he do? How does he make it happen? And I'm just kind of not trying to piggyback off what you do, but I'm trying to be realistic because not only for traveling, you have to book, at the right time. You have to pay for, you're going with a person. You have to buy 2 tickets, and that's just like half of it. Then you have to pay for your Uber, your food, and where you're staying. So there's all that, and that's something that maybe me estoy pasando, but I wanted to ask you out of curiosity, how do you make it happen? Like, how do you allocate enough so you can go on all these like vacations?
So it depends if you're talking about money or if you're talking about time.
Let's say money.
Money. I feel like people will travel when they can travel. because that's really their only option. So if a flight is $100, they'll take it. If the flight is $500, $600, they're still gonna take it because that's the only time they can travel. Um, the way that I feel like I make it work is I kind of look up like ahead of time. I'll look up like flights and hotels and see like when it's more affordable. Like there was a time I went to Vegas for like 3 or 4 days. I paid like $70 or $80. That included the flight. That included the hotel. It's like 70, $80.
Wow.
Like that's nothing.
Damn.
And it's just like about looking for like the right price and the right time. And at times the time is going to be a little inconvenient, but it's like $400, $500 cheaper than if you were to go when it is more convenient. And I don't know. I think that's kind of how I do it. The other way that I do it is I feel like I scam the scammers. So like people that have bought in like a timeshare or like are interested in timeshares, like I feel like I get a lot of calls from like companies like saying like, hey, like do you want to come on this vacation? It's like a really good price. The only thing is that you have to go to a timeshare presentation. Like actually just earlier this week, I paid for a package. I could choose like any destination. They have like select destinations that I could pick from. One of them is Orlando, which I like going to a lot. I paid like $130, 4 days, 3 nights. The only thing I have to worry about is the hotel. But usually what I'll do is like when I buy these kind of packages, I'll look for the cheapest flight, which sometimes is like $150, $200 to go all the way across the country, and then I already have the hotel paid for, like $130 for 4 days, 3 nights. The only catch to it is that you have to go to a timeshare presentation, which can be like an hour and a half to 2 hours long. Most of the time, the people are really pushy, but you kind of just have to hold your ground and be like, no, like, I'm not interested. Like, no, no, no. Like, you're going to say no like 20, 30 times until they finally get the point that you're not going to go with their timeshare. And a lot of the times, they give you a gift, which can be like a $50, $100 back. So really, the hotel that you pay for, which was like $130, ends up coming out to like $30 because they will give you like $100 back.
Wow. I hope there's no repercussions or they try to find a way to, I would say punish you because.
No, and I mean recently, a few weeks ago, I went to Vegas and I had tried to book at one of the timeshare like places that I usually go to, and this was the first time this has ever happened. But they were like, "Oh, you know what? We had to reject your purchase or your reservation because we've noticed you've stayed with us a couple of times, and so you can't do it again."
Whoa!
But the thing was that it was like $100 to book the hotel 4 days, 3 nights, and then they would give you $100 back after the presentation. So literally, the hotel stay was free.
Wow! So they caught on. But you still made it happen.
Yeah. So some rarely they'll catch on, but that's how I've been to like Cabo and like other places. I actually bought 2 other ones earlier this year to go to Cancun.
Yeah, that's where I'm trying to go. That's where we're trying to take my special lady. We were trying to go, especially the last week of the year because I have a whole week off. Because where I work, we get a week off, but flights are insane. They're like $1,000.
Like during December, like anywhere you want to go, it's gonna be hella pricey.
It's almost not worth it. And I'm over here thinking to myself, okay, what am I do for a whole week? Like, she works, I don't work. I mean, I can practice following it up. I can go on a solo adventure, which I see some people do.
I do that all the time.
Speaking of which, like I'm not gonna hear and bash on it, but like, do you ever just like when you go on it, do you ever fear anything? Like, and I'm not talking to like your safety. I'm like, do you fear like, I don't know, like running into like a bad crowd, or you fear like being stranded in the airport for like 5 days, like anything like that? Because that's something
I don't
always
think
ask.
I've ever had like a bad experience on a solo trip. I feel like they've always been. I mean, I've had like some unfortunate situations, but most of the time, like it's been pretty good. Like I usually will look up like different things to do. Like I like to go to like speakeasies. I like to do escape rooms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just different events. Like one of the last ones I took, I went to Austin. I went to an escape room. Like met some family. They were like really nice. Um, I went to a WWE event. It was a pay
Ah,
per view, and I paid
oh, you
like
went to NXT. I remember.
yeah,
I
yeah.
seen
I
that.
paid like $70, and I was like right there, like really close to the ring.
Wow.
Um,
But that
yeah,
must have been
it's
fun.
just about I don't know, like looking for things to do and like waiting for the right price to come up. Because I feel like a lot of people, part of the reason they don't travel or do things is because they're looking for times that are more convenient for them, and maybe like they don't have a lot of time. Um, for me, I think I just personally make time to travel and do things. But also, like, let's say at the beginning of this month, if there's a flight to Vegas and it's like $300, but then at the end of the month, it's like $120. Like, I'm just gonna wait until the end of the month to go. Like, I'm not gonna go like when it's more expensive. And I feel like people will do that. They'll be like, oh, it's too expensive to go.
No, you're telling me. I've been monitoring for. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm persistent in monitoring like a Cancun vacation, but I've been seeing one of them was 152 for two people round trip, with the catch of it being it's a 36-hour flight
Oh,
with over like five
and then
stops.
there's those.
And I'm just telling myself, why would I sacrifice that much time? Like I can save up the time and go, but 36 hours, that's monotonous. Like you'd start smelling after a while. Like you get tired of the people next to you, you know?
I mean, it also depends like how many layovers it is. Like, let's say it's like two layovers, but like one of the layovers is in I don't know, like let's say Vegas, and it's for like 15 hours. Like in those 15 hours, you can leave the airport and like go do things in Vegas, and then come back like when your flight is about to leave, and then take off.
So you can use that to your advantage. You can post a story, make it look like you went to multiple places at once,
Yeah,
and have
and,
people swipe up.
and one of the things that helps is one of the credit cards that I have. It lets me go into the different airport lounges. So like if I get hungry, I just go to a lounge and I get food.
Wow.
I get unlimited drinks. Oh, there was one time I went to New Mexico and I was coming back home and I had a layover in Vegas. I got too fucked up.
Yeah, how bad? In how many hours?
I think the layover was probably like 2 or 3 hours. I had maybe 4 or 5 drinks. I think like 5 drinks.
We're talking mixed drinks or talking beer?
Mixed drinks.
Okay.
So I had like 5 mixed drinks, and then while I'm at the airport, my nephew's dad posts on, I think it was on Snapchat, that he's also at the same airport, and I was like, oh shit, like no way you're here too, and then he's like, oh yeah, like come over here, we're at this gate, and my flight was leaving from like that same area, so I met up with him and like his brothers, and he's like, man, like I want to buy you a drink. And I was like, no, like I've had enough drinks, like.
This fool became T-Pain, huh?
Yeah. And I was like, no, I've had enough drinks. He's like, no, just one. I was like, all right. And so we take a drink, we have a drink together, and like I was already like buzzing, and then they, like after a little while, they call over the speaker like, okay, like gate so and so to Sacramento, we're gonna start boarding now. And so they start calling the groups up, and my group is the next group, and he's like, let me get you another drink. And I was like, no, like I'm already like feeling it like pretty good, and I have to board. And then he's like, no, one more. And then he tells the bartender, can you get another drink, make it a double? And I was like, oh fuck. And I mean, I had to chug it because my group was like about to start boarding, and
He wanted to make sure you go mimis when you landed.
no, like I was on the plane, I was in my seat, and I just had my head like leaned down against the seat in front of me, and I was like, I just hope I don't throw up, because like I was pretty fucked up.
So what, like past 10 out of 10? We're talking like 11 out of 10.
I mean, maybe not that fucked up, but like I was like a good like 7 or 8, and I was like I just did not want to throw up on the plane, and I want to say that I passed out, and then I landed, and I was like, all right, I'm just happy to be on land, and I
That's
started.
good.
I sobered up a little bit, but I was still like pretty buzzed.
Speaking of which, are you buzzing right now? Or are you just chilling?
I feel a little buzzed.
Okay.
I haven't eaten much today. But
Well, to be fair, I didn't eat as much as well. I feel like it kind of helped me out a little bit in terms of like getting more loose, just because as we discussed during the game, you get tired, you get a little dehydrated, you're just kind of feeling lethargic like this. I think it just kind of like gave me a boost of energy like caffeine would,
mm-hmm.
but I'm not feeling like messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a good thing.
No, see, I haven't eaten since like maybe like an hour or two before the game. That was the last time I ate.
So you didn't eat after the game?
No, I haven't eaten.
Should have got in and out.
And
Should have gotten yourself
tomorrow's a school night.
Should have gotten yourself a 2x2 or 3x3.
I don't know. I'm trying to lay off fast food for a little while.
Are you finally gonna come to the gymnasium like me and Twitty?
Well, usually, I started going like a week ago. I actually dropped 10 pounds like in a week.
I wait.
And it's literally just been like not eating fast food and just eating like, I don't know, like healthier things.
What about alcohol?
I mean, that's probably the most unhealthy thing that I've been like taking it, but I've been doing like a lot of running, and then usually I'll run at the gym and do like some cardio there, but it's always hella packed that you can never really use anything. So I'll do cardio there and then go home and work out at home, and then like I can do and use anything I want whenever I want, instead of like this person is using this, I have to wait.
Well, I mean, I feel like if you time it, like especially like playing the waiting game for when things are gonna be open at the gym, like you'll be fine. Cause like at least in my experience, cause I go to the 24-hour one, the one that's like big, like the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
I would typically go at 4 or 6 p.m. That's when it's like an influx. You have your TikTokers,
Mm-hmm.
you have your CrossFitters, you have the cardio bunnies, you have the power lifters, you have the average group of like 10 high schoolers hugging up a bench. And if you leave your house, well, at least if you live on this side of town, if you leave your house at 8, get there like 8:05, 8:10, everything's open. The only thing you have to worry about is like, if you're supersetting, which I like to do, which I do 2 machines at once, I'll leave a backpack somewhere here, leave my water over here.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't care. They just start taking your stuff off. And I found myself to like stop, like I will say youngins, because I'm 29 and I turned 30 at the end of this year. I found these youngins just removing my bar or removing my ropes, and I'm just like, hey, I still had a set. And like, I'm always assuming it's gonna be a bad interaction, so I always prepare just in case. Like, I'm not gonna cuss them out. I'm not gonna make them feel like inferior. Like, I'm just gonna tell them, hey, this is how it is. I'm still using it. But normally, like, it's normal. Like, I've never had I've only had one bad scenario when I was in the university, but that's because some guy wanted to fight me because I had some ropes, and he just told me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm working out. He's like, so you need to hurry up. And I'm just like, no, my bag's here, my gym bag's here. I'm telling him like straight up, and he's just like, what? Like he got up in my face like this my face, and he's just like, what? And I'm just like, I'm still working out. What is your deal? Like, we can discuss it like adults, or like, I'm not gonna get physical with you. I'm not gonna get kicked out of here because you can't simply wait. I mean, it didn't get to the point where it got physical, but it was just like I was standing my ground. But in terms of like times of going to the gym, I would say 8 o'clock is safe, because like if you do an hour, which is basically like the average, like you'll be fine. Like you finish at 9, you get home, shower 9:30. After that, everyone has their own different way before they go to bed. Some people do like their skincare routine, some don't, and then like everything else. Like, people have like a long sleeping schedule. Like, they'll do this, They'll play music. They'll prepare some things that aren't even like related to like work. It's more like a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
They'll read, and then they'll do their meal prep, and then after that they'll even clean, and then they'll go to sleep. Like, I don't know.
I wish I had that much time.
Really. No, I feel you on that.
It's literally like lately it's been like get off of work, go to the gym and work out, get home and go play soccer, or get home from work, go play soccer, and then go to the gym. And then by the time I'm home, like it's like 9:30, and it's like, all right, now I'm gonna take a shower and start getting things ready for tomorrow, start getting ready for bed, whatever it is. And then I still end up going to bed like at midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning.
You know, I'm starting to feel viejito here because I try to aim to go to sleep at like 10:30 or 11, just because like I need to get my sleep in, and I still feel sleepy the next day. Like even getting 7.5 hours, like I'm still yawning on my desk. And I was gonna say like, I don't know if that's like an age thing. Maybe it's like specifically like my health condition that I have. But like, do you ever find yourself like yawning?
Oh yeah, like especially I mean, last year I would a lot in class, and they would be like, Miss Raira, you're tired, huh? And I'd be like, yeah, just a little bit. But I mean, at that time, I was like doing 2 jobs, going to school, and like all these other things like sports. This year, not so much. This year, I feel like I've balanced out my sleeping schedule a lot better.
No, it's good.
And I also don't feel as tired. Like just a couple of days ago, I think I went to sleep like 1, 2 in the morning, and I woke up the next day like at 6. I went for a walk for like a mile, and then walked back home, and then got ready for work, and I was good.
Was that the same day that I texted you if you ever felt dizzy after a soccer game?
It might have been. It might have been.
You know what's crazy how that happens? I looked it up, and from what I got from, Google search is either have a low blood sugar, or you're dehydrated, or it's a pre-symptom of diabetes. So I'm just gonna jump to the conclusion that it's like dehydration, because I'm not even playing. When I stood up that same day that I texted you, like I stood up like this, right? And like the whole room was like shaky, and I was thinking to myself, what the hell? What's wrong? Like, why is it like this? Like, that's not normal. I took my normal medication that I have to take every morning, and even when I got to work, like still that morning after I ate breakfast, I had my coffee. Like only 2 times when I stood up, I got dizzy, and that's when I was like, hey, like I'm gonna text you because you probably have experienced more than me.
No, and it's crazy because it just happened to me probably like a month ago. I think it was after a game. Like I got up in the morning to like get ready for work, and I was like, oh shit, like I think I got up too fast. And then, but I was like, okay, like I just got up too fast. But as the day went on, I still felt kind of dizzy. And then later on in that week, I had some softball games, and I remember like running out onto the field, and even while I was running, like everything was just like bouncing and moving like way too much. And I remember I told like the captain of the team, I was like, I don't think I could like run, because like when I run, everything is like moving like way too much. Like I'm feeling like kind of dizzy. And it lasted probably that week, and then after that, it was good.
Have you noticed like we have a lot of things in common? Like we're not. I'm not gonna say overworked, but we work a lot. We strive to get a specific amount of sleep, and when it comes to physical activity, at least sport, not the gym, like I want to say we give it our all, and we both get dizzy. And you lost 10 pounds. I've lost since August like 12. I think we're exerting ourselves to the point where like we're actually burning like enough calories to like get rid of some muscle, but like fat. Maybe that could be a thing too. Maybe we're like losing weight too fast. And like I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a doctor, but I've lost weight before. Like, do you think it could be attributed to that?
I mean, I'm trying to lose weight. Well, at least fat.
Yeah.
That's
trying to get sculpted for La Paya.
I'm trying to like get into a decent shape for the Halloween party.
Ah, okay. So Halloween party, not no one special, right?
What do you mean?
Not no one. You're not doing it for a certain someone, right?
Nah, not really. It's mostly for me.
That's what's up. They should always be for yourself.
Yeah.
Look out for yourself, King. Speaking of which, got my costume, but I'm not gonna reveal it here. I'm not gonna tell you. Especially out here. That's more of a. You're gonna see it later. Costume's ready. Tried it on. I just need to add a nice flair, a nice set of shoes, something to make it look nice. But uh, I am excited. I am ready to play. I'm ready to have this. Ready to have this party. Which, by the way, I'm excited. Thank you for the invite. We're working on. Well, my lady's still getting her outfit ready, but
I actually don't even have a costume yet. Like, I've been trying to figure out something to be, and I'm like, I don't know. The last 2 or 3 years, I've been a little uninspired. Usually, like, Halloween is a big thing for me, where I'll spend a lot of money and put in a lot of effort into a costume. But the last like 2 or 3 years, like, I don't know. I just haven't found anything that's been that, like, I don't know,
well,
that has caught my attention.
let me break it down for you in an easier way. Do you want to be scary, unique, or sexy? That's usually the three top ones.
I think usually I like to be unique. I think like the last unique costume I had was like 3 years ago. I was Takashi 6ix9ine.
You were 6ix9ine, the guy that got jumped in the bathroom. So wait, you got a whole wig, or you actually dyed your hair?
I got a wig. I got the face tattoos. I actually ordered like some of his merch to wear to the party. Yeah.
Started rapping Gummo.
And then the person I was with, so I was Takashi 6ix9ine, and then the person I was with was Jenny 69. So we were the 6ix9ines.
Not Jenny 6ix9ine. I remember when she came out with that song.
But I think that's when we dressed up as those characters. It was when that, like, she was kind of like blowing up and was like all over the media. But that was the only year that those costumes were going to work. Because, like, if I were to do it now, like, I mean, maybe people would be like, oh, it's Tekashi 6ix9ine, but it wouldn't be as big of news as it was back then. Because I think at that time, it was, like, when he had, like, gotten arrested and stuff and was going to prison.
Whatever's, like, the hot topic of the actual year.
Right. And I feel like this year there's going to be a lot of, like, Barbies and Kens. And
yeah, I was literally going to say that. A lot of Barbies, a lot of Kens, maybe bring back Last of Us just because it's been on Universal Studios. And you know what I think is going to be very prominent? I think we're going to see, like, less superheroes, and we're going to see more, like, I would say, like, fictional characters that aren't typically superheroes. Something like classic, like Scooby-Doo. I've been seeing, like, a lot of Velmas. I've been seeing a lot of Scooby-Doos. Not a lot of Shaggies, but a lot of that on my timeline. And I'm just over here thinking to myself, wow, like, people are going back to the classics, which is kind of good.
Like, I mean, I did think about doing Ken just because when I had my hair blonde, I was like, this is the only year this costume is going to work because I have the blonde hair and everything.
Just know there's going to be a lot of Kens.
But I was like, nah, like, everybody's going to be Ken. I don't like to do what everybody is doing. I like to do something that's different and outside the box. And so I was like, no Ken. And then I was considering, I was like, what if I just, like, cut my hair and I'm, like, Slim Shady and I just have it all blonde? Then I was like, like, maybe not. And so right now I'm like, I don't know what to be.
I mean, that's the fun part because you could always choose, and it always is like a personality thing. It's like based on what you choose. It's like, oh damn, like this person, like they went all out with that. They must be a fan of so and so, or like this is something that's like special to them. Like for me, the only hint I'll drop is an anime character because I haven't done anime in like the longest time. I've been Miguel from Coco. I've been, I think, an Optimus Prime once. I've been a ninja before. I've been Woody before. I've been I've been Bob Ross, and I was really contemplating being Kakashi Sensei, but like I saw so many dudes wearing like that or like the Akatsuki from Naruto, and I told myself, okay, it's the second best anime in the world. I can't.
What's the best?
What's El Papa? Dragon Ball? Like, come on now. Like, I will find myself like talking with like fellow weebs, as you may mention. That's something you would call someone who likes anime a lot. Like someone that like watches it vicariously. Somebody that like likes it because they like it and not because society now deems it as something cool. Like, I think it is the best because without it, you wouldn't have Naruto, you wouldn't have Bleach, you wouldn't have how you would say Death Note, or even the modern day ones.
two things. One, did you see that they announced there's like a new Dragon Ball anime coming out?
Is it? I forgot the name. Is it like? I forgot the name of it.
Daima?
Daima, yeah.
So there's that. Two. I mean, it was kind of a joke, but at the same time, I'm like, do I want to do it? I always thought, do I want to name my first kid Goku?
What's wrong with that? I mean, like, there's some people that name their kids like the weirdest things, like
Lamangelo.
I've seen like Esra, and I'm like, what's Esra, bro? Like, is that like some sort of like indie artist? Like, I feel like people nowadays try their best to have the most unique name to stand